Gunpla TV here, Gunpla Builders Philippines. Today, we are joined by Don Suratos. So, our special guest, Don Suratos. Tell us about yourself.
Um, May kodi ko eh. No?
Oh, of course.
So I'm Don. It's been a while since I actually built a competition level gunpla, but I did some gunpla work for a paint brand, and also did. I think my last was a build off with my daughter Nico,
Mm,
and that was 3 years ago,
three
something
years
like
ago.
that.
So, when you say brands, it's okay to tell your brands here.
Ah, okay.
Okay naman tayo doon. Sige, tell us about your social media, your channels, of course.
So I used to be a blogger back in 2009 when blogging was like the thing, and I was the most active blogger back then in terms of Philippines. Actually, parang Asia. So the other one would be Toy Maker
Mm.
of Singapore, Kenny. And then the other guys, Australia, US, and all that. So there are only a few bloggers back then, but it was the in thing. And then it's not dead, it's still there. But eventually, I made a YouTube channel because of working with Vallejo, the paint
Vallejo
brand
Paints.
from Spain. There
Number
was a
one.
confusion at the start because they told me I should create a YouTube channel, but at the same time, eventually,
Patreon.
they said that I should create videos for their YouTube channel.
Ah, okay.
So that was the confusion at the start of my channel. So the first year of my YouTube channel was mainly unboxing videos
Mm,
because I did not have the time to actually work for my own videos. I was doing videos for Vallejo at
Oh.
that time.
Okay, so before you got into Gunpla, who were you? What were you doing as for a living?
Oh, I took up fine arts in college, and then after college, I did work for video stuff because I did not want to go to advertising. I took up advertising, but advertising at that time was like the pay was so bad because of a crisis or
Mm.
whatsoever. So I did video graphics, effects, and all that compositing. So it's still a bit art. And then eventually I worked for when I had my second kid. I worked for a company, GMA.
Mm.
I was the head of visual effects again after directing some videos before that. And then a co-employee told me that there's this competition about Gunpla,
Which one was it?
GMKC.
Do you remember what year?
Oh my, it was 2008.
2008.
2008 was my first year of joining competitions. Before that, I used to just buy
The
Lord of the
kits.
Rings toys
Okay, okay.
and then paint, add mud and add weathering to them. And then, but I did have some Gundam Wing,
Mm.
like the really small ones back in college, but not the actual competition painting of Gunpla.
Okay,
So
so
I started painting 2008.
okay, so you started painting in 2000. Okay, so how old were you when you actually started building? Just building, not competing.
Just building, it was college. I think I was 16, of course.
1990,
16, 17,
1990, ano to?
1998.
98, okay.
Yeah.
So during that time, you
Grabe,
have
dapat wala nang year eh. 1998.
Mobile Suit Gundam is shown on Animax. You can also watch Mobile Fighter G Gundam and Gundam Wing during that time. Those were
Gundam
the
Wing, definitely. Yes.
Yes. Okay, what was the very first Gundam show that you ever watched?
Gundam Wing.
Wing talaga.
Because we did not like, cable companies won't really go into our village. So until today, until dead na sila, but still they won't really install cable at our place. So it's only the local channels, which means Gundam Wing.
So, are you saying even with all these difficulties, you still manage to uh, give time for the hobby and the win?
Oh,
Ano?
when I was working for GMA, it was really difficult in a way because after work, and that's a lot of hours, you like spend more time working on the kits. And the first year, like 2008, I bought my first MG roughly around Feb. So 2008 February, I was working on kits every week
Ah.
after work.
Wow.
And then the competition, my first competition, GMKC, and I think that was the first GMKC because they allowed modifications back then. And the only controversy of my entry was that I created a base for it because I
Oh.
wanted in flight mode, and bases are
Not allowed.
not
diba?
allowed. I was like telling them, because I was like telling them, don't judge the base,
Just
judge the kid. It's flying anyway.
Oh.
Then eventually, I think I said that in the most friendliest way I did, but I doubt. So eventually they allowed it, and then I won gold as new challenger for GMKC
Yeah,
back in
because
2000.
it was called different things back then, and then the rules are changed now.
Yeah.
2 years ago, they just changed the rules again.
Yes,
diba?
it's always
Wow.
changing.
Okay.
And then it's kind of difficult because you work after work. Like, you work after your 9 to 5.
Yeah, so
it's-
describe that. How many hours did you work on that kit that got you the goal?
No, since you enjoy it so much and you build confidence as you add details, you kind of like don't realize that it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m. already, and you have to go to work at
And you were working at
7.
Food Cup, right? Yeah.
But I had a great boss. Even though my work is 7, I'll go 9 or 10.
Okay,
So
awesome.
she's in the US, right? She resigned already, but I was allowed to like be late every day. So I worked till like early morning with the kids, especially for the competition piece.
Okay, so how many GMKC awards did you get? Just GMKC.
GMKC I only joined once
And then you
because
got
the
gold.
year after they said it's just a painting competition, and I never liked
Joined it.
painting competition because it's not because I don't like it. It's more of since I have fine arts background, I feel it's too subjective. There's very little like dynamics in terms of judging it. So the judge, if he doesn't feel good that day, he likes lighter colored models, that will win. If the judge feels so bad because he lost his girlfriend, she likes darker kit. So
Okay.
so I'm not really a
Understood,
fan
yeah.
of painting competitions. It applies even to fine arts. So it really depends on the mood of the judges. So
Okay. Oh yeah, subjective.
very subjective.
Very. Okay. So walk me through the journey of GBWC.
GBWC. No, it's not GBWC back in during those times.
It's
So
called
it was called BAKUC,
BAKUC.
wherein
The
Bandai
mask
has
BAKUC
yes,
would
mask.
go here, and what I find funny about the mask BAKUC was every time I see him, every time I see videos of him, it's actually another guy. It's a different guy. Somebody else for Hong Kong, somebody else for the Philippines.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're short, sometimes they're dark and
But-
small. I don't know.
Usually, as I remember him, is usually tall and dark.
Yeah, but the guys I saw were short and light skinned, especially the mask Bakuk that went to Singapore back in the day. He looked very different. Anyway,
So it was BAKUC back then. It was Bandai Action Kit Universal Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
But for some odd reason, I remember during the finals, we had more countries in terms of countries in Europe.
yeah.
So we had Italy, we had like no, I'm friends with the Italian champion back then, so I remember Italy. And there are other countries instead of just one European entry. So that I remember clearly. And then it was the same year, but then again, so after winning GMKC around June, I forgot. I then immediately they handed out like flyers that they'll have a competition around November. It's called BAKUC. The back then, and then since June or July to November, I work on the kit. So roughly around 3 months of working on it. Now that was hard work, but it was super fun because the rules states that you could do dioramas, and I love dioramas because I used to create like Helm's Deep for my Lord of the Rings
Oh, okay.
figures.
Wow. Okay.
Like really big ones made of foam, but I don't have it now. But it's super fun to like create stories out of dioramas.
We'll
So
show the
I enjoyed it
dioramas.
so much.
We'll show the winning entry as well. So yeah, first win. How did you feel?
It was really good because it's the first year you got to win at GMKC, and then I also won in the Philippines November for BAKUC. And then apparently I did not realize that if you win in the Philippines, because I wasn't expecting it, it was my first time. If you win the Philippines, you'll get to represent the Philippines at Japan,
Japan.
for the World Finals. Ano, at Hong Kong at that time.
Hong Kong, yeah.
For the World Finals. And then, luckily, I also won as World Champion in the same year.
World
So,
champion as well. All right. Sige. So, How many hours would you say you put into that winning piece?
It was a lot. It feels like it's a lot of hours because I have a day job.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So it's that's why I tell my daughter every time that you should stay humble because not everyone has the luxury to have the time to work on their
Stay humble.
models because you cannot. I also tell this to, I should tell this to Sydney, but, but not everyone has the luxury of time to work on models. Like most people, even during that time, it was so difficult to not sleep because you're really working on the model. Unlike now, we do it full times.
And
It's
then
easier.
you remember, no? When there were street building competitions, BAKUC, GMKC, there was always this one old guy that has like all the tools in the world that will go there and just build and fucking win the thing.
I think I saw him a couple of times,
Yeah, yeah.
but to be honest, because I was usually with 3 kids and the wife during competitions, and they're so uncomfortable every
Okay.
time
Yeah, yeah,
during
yeah.
competitions
Of course.
because they don't have seats, they
Oh,
don't
yeah, yeah.
have areas
You would have to
stay
work,
with,
right?
and
Yeah,
then
your entry, yeah.
and you're allowed to like retouch your models.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you're so focused on your models and then the kids and the family. You have to like try to make them comfortable as they wait for the announcement of the winner.
exactly.
During the
It takes a lot of time, yeah,
So
as
I
well.
don't really. I think I saw him twice, but I don't really.
Ako, no?
I did not mind him.
I saw that old fart sa quad when it was still called quad. Right? And then I saw him nung bago pa yung market. There was a mini competition there. But I think that was the last time I ever saw him.
He's kind of old, so probably he's gone. So
Kudos sa'yo, idol. Alright, moving on. So, was there a time in your life na you or someone close to you once said, maybe it's time to stop these childish things, stop building na?
wala naman. Parang no one. Like, for example, my parents, they know me from the start that I love toys. Like, they used to buy me toys. They used to tell me if you get 100 with your exam or
You can get
tests,
this toy. Yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
Ghostbusters. Get another 100, you get Turtles back in elementary. So I'm really into toys ever since. That's why these days it's so funny that my mom looks at when she sees me working, she's kind of smiling because I've been doing it for so long.
Exactly.
Like really playing or painting toys.
Playing, painting, consistent. It's always been
Since
your
I was
hobby.
young, yeah.
Exactly. Wow. And to be rewarded, with Patreon and your sponsors, how does that make you feel? Tapos, you're a champion, of course, and you've bred a champion as well.
No, to be honest, it's the face or how like I always post English in my socials. So people have this misconception that they're pretty mayabang or whatsoever.
Mayabang?
But then again, they confuse confidence with yabang. Well, people easily confuse confidence with what you do with arrogance. That or in Sydney's case, he's very happy. He's just emotionally like transparent.
You keep mentioning Sydney Ang.
Yeah, because I'm looking
we
at
were
him.
talking about arrogance, and we're talking about si Harvey. All right. Sige. So, what is your stance? What is your stance? What is your stance with fake model kits?
Oh, fake. I always say this to people. I don't have anything against like fake model kits, but I will never touch a fake model kit. Like I will never touch what is considered fake, especially on camera or even off camera, because I feel that I owe my socials, my following, and all that with I owe it to Bandai. Like I won multiple championships, and it's all sponsored by Bandai. So I have this following, even though I don't do gunplay anymore. I do paint miniatures. I still have a few people that follows me during my Gunpla days. So I feel that I owe it totally to Bandai.
So, Don Suratos, how many GMKCs? How many GBWCs?
Well, GMKC, it's just one. But then again, 2008, I won Philippine champion. And then I won world champion the same year. I got silver 2010. I hated it for a decade. And then I won expert champion in 2010. 2010, they did not allow me to join the open category. They kind of invented a new rule that me and multiple winners should join a separate category.
Expert category.
The expert category. Now, the expert category, there's only 5 of us who competed. Although those are the really good ones. Because those are multi-winning people.
Yeah, but I remember the rule clearly stated that you cannot compete under the open category if you competed before. So you would have to be in the expert category.
So it's a bummer because I won world champion and then the next year I just got silver. I overdid the diorama. I know now why I got silver. And then the next year after that, they did not allow me to join the open category, which is the expert category. Luckily, well, not luckily, I really worked hard to get the gold there, so I got the gold again with the expert category. But it's so funny because you were competing with 5 people.
Exactly.
But then again, those 5 people are like multi-awarded modelers. So it was good in a way, but we did not get a trophy for the expert cat. It's a stupid little, but it's a stupid little medal. And I still have it, but it's a gold medal, but it's just a medal. So,
let's show that medal on camera.
Which I hate because it's too small, but it's supposedly a big, category. So.
Okay, so a few pointers that we got from Don Suratos, right? He will not touch bootleg fake shit. Number 1. Number 2, he owes his fame sa Bandai. Hence, he won't touch the fake shit. Alright, moving on. Favorite Gunpla model kit ever?
Oh, it's always the fat models. I used to be a little. I think you can't say fat anymore.
Big bone.
Yeah, I forgot you can't say fat anymore. But it's always like the bigger, chunkier models. Because sometimes I get chunky, so I got to sometimes I get to 200 pounds. Because of the hobby. And then now I'm a little bit trimmer. Maybe I'm around 180. But then again, sometimes I go back to do it. So I really like the chunky models. So I relate to it. And I feel that you could do anything a lot more to chunkier models than the smaller than the thinner usual models.
The studio. Game.
Banang sa araw. Ay, ano na?
Okay na. Alright, so, obviously, no further introductions needed. We're back again here with Don Suratos. So, breeder of champions, champion in his own right. Of course, won several categories when he joined. Plug muna tayo. Patreon.
Oh, Patreon, I'm not sure if the Gunpla community really supports Patreon stuff, but I don't really have Gunpla content there other than the PDF copy of my book.
Okay.
Like my first book.
Get his book.
It's a painting book. It's free there. If it's
Get his book, it's free.
It's PDF. And then, but most of the content is miniature painting.
Okay. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram.
Facebook, my old Facebook was hacked. It was 39K at that time when it was hacked. So I built another one, which you were helping me with. It's now 13K today. It's slowly growing back. And then YouTube, it's practically a couple of years old. I have almost 39,000 subscribers getting there. And then Instagram, I have almost 33,000. But the Instagram is super old. It's like a decade old. Like I created the Instagram account when I was still active in Gunpla.
Okay.
So it's super old. It's like maybe 12 years old.
Okay.
It's all Don Suratos though.
Don Suratos.
At Twitter, now X, it's Don_Suratos. Same at Instagram, it's Don_Suratos. But everywhere else, except for Facebook that was hacked, so now I had to rename the new one as Don Suratos Art.
Okay, Don Suratos Art.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had to rename it.
Alright, so let's talk about the future before we get to the difficult questions, no? Well, question. But yeah, what is your number 1 tip for people who want to join GMKC or GBWC for the first time?
Oh, for GMKC, just join for the experience. It's for me, it's really difficult to.
So give them a tip.
So,
don't say just join. Ano tip? Like tip. Give them a pro tip.
No, yeah, it's make sure that your painting stands out in a way
Painting stands
that
out.
you have to be creative at the same time, technical about it. Because normally I don't know who's judging, but normally the judges should know what is difficult to execute, and at the same time is creative in terms of the output. Because some people have this misconception that if it's difficult to do, like for example, you create a really nice texture with patterns and whatsoever, since it's difficult to do, it really stands out. It's not always the case. When it comes to art, it's not always what's difficult is what's good. So you have to find the balance and then make sure your work is unique.
Find the balance. Make sure your work is unique.
Yeah.
All right. Some people might argue that your time is over. That you've done what you can during that time because, quote unquote, the hobby wasn't that popular at that time. Maybe you're afraid of competing again. What do you say to these people who are like saying, oh, hindi yan siya masali next year. Hindi na yan kasi iba na yung ginagawa niyan eh.
Yeah.
How would you respond to that?
In terms of the quality of the builds, if you compare the older builds with the new ones, it's the newer ones are definitely better. Like I think it's totally like better in terms of I think because of the availability of the tools, and now the paints are better, and then you have so many resources on how to learn it.
So the paints are more available.
But actually, I'm wrong in that manner because during my time, forums are like, it's the heyday of forums. So learning the hobby is like super easy. However, you don't really have access to most of the good tools.
Exactly.
So it's like it balances it out. But in terms of creativity and the execution, it's totally better now. Like people who model now is way better than what we used to do back then.
Okay. What advice would you give to somebody who's competed and won, I don't know, 2 or 3 silvers? Pag second place ka palagi, what advice would you give?
The problem with competitions is that even if you do your best, like you have some parameters of what you think needs to win. There's still like a portion of it as like there's a percentage of luck in any competition. Like even in basketball, if hindi ma-injure yung isa or whatsoever. So there's always as whatever percentage that you need a bit of luck too. But then again, you have certain parameters to make sure that the percentage to win is higher than most people.
I love it that you mentioned winning, what it takes to win. Do you think if you would join GBWC, I'm not talking about GMKC, no? I'm talking about GBWC. Kasi you entered the competition when the era was different. You mentioned the tools were unavailable. Now we can go to Shopee, Lazada, X, Y, and Z. Andito sila eh, right? So, do you think you stand a chance of placing if ever you were to compete, let's say GBWC 2024? Do you honestly think you can win? Or do you still have what it takes to win?
Of placing? No,
Winning.
I don't join to place. I join to get to. So,
One more time.
I had
Say it to their face. What was that again, Don?
Because you told me if I have a chance of placing. The problem is the question is kind of wrong. Because I never join to place. I always join to win.
There you
so
go.
it's always the goal part. So I don't join to place.
That's why he is who he is. Alright, so GMKC, wala na yun.
Well, I don't join this.
GBWC, yes, no, 2024.
We have an inside joke with I have an inside joke with my daughter. Like I do feel she's getting better. But then again, I'm a better painter now. And you have better tools. So I'm actually curious if I'm still a better modeler than her. But there's possibility that not anymore.
So,
but then again, working with her at home, like I can imagine myself, my competitive self, seeing my daughter work on her entry. If ever I join, I highly doubt that I'll allow my entry to look less than what she's working. So,
wow. So let's say na she comes of age and we're talking about GBWC 2025 now, wherein she's now qualified to join your category.
To be honest, I want to join 2025 because that will be the first year that Nico will compete in
Exactly.
that category.
Wow.
So I'm not sure of joining next year, but I feel like I like to join the year when my daughter is joining.
So I guess that's all the time we have now. Thank you so much for joining us, Don. We don't want to heat things up. Grabe na yung rivalry niya, pero I love it. Family of artists, obviously champions, world champion. We'll see what happens in GBWC, GMKC 2024, and of course 2025. Thank you so much for your time, Don.